COVID-19 vaccines are now available to everyone 16 and older. To schedule your appointment, go to vaccinelocator.doh.wa.gov. A message from the Washington State Department of Health. This vaccine update is in partnership with the Washington Department of Health, and with us is from the Vancouver branch of the NAACP and Wellness on the Go, Miss Benita Presley, and I think we owe you a happy birthday or something or another or whatnot. I hear somebody celebrating a birthday here on a Thursday. How are you doing here on this Wednesday?
I am doing great, and I'm feeling very blessed considering COVID and all the world issues going on. And I will be 61 years old tomorrow, and I don't regret any year of it.
We say 61 and young.
61 is still young.
There you go. There you go. Well, we appreciate you and your time, of course. What are we looking at as far as the latest updates since we last spoke?
Okay, so for the state of Washington, we have 430,415 confirmed cases of COVID-19. We have had 5,722 deaths, and we have had a total of 7,073,708 people that have been totally tested. And with that said, we are nowhere near out of the woods yet, but we are seeing some progress. And we only have 49% of people in the United States that have been vaccinated with both vaccines. So we're going a little slow, but we're hoping to pick up the pace. And I think the way we'll start this out today is we're going to call it the gift of protection, and that would be the COVID vaccination.
I would definitely agree with that. And, for full disclosure, today I'm fully inoculated. It's been 2 weeks since my second dose, and I guess I'll couple that with the fact that on Tuesday morning I took my teen in, my youngest son in to get the vaccine. I found it a little ironic, though, just having gone through the process, and I guess now my first vaccination season is over. But just because I'm vaxxed up doesn't mean I'm not going to mask up. We still got to do that. I just found it. I found it quite odd because normally you're used to those my age and older, some a little bit younger adults, but now you're seeing the teens in there, the young teens. Mine is 13 and a half, and he wasn't the only one that was in there. I get vaxxed up, and here was his message. I asked him, how do you feel? He said, I'm a little nervous, but that's just because it's a shot. But I said, no, well, how do you feel? I mean, it's kind of you're part of history at this point in time. He says, I just want to do my part to end this pandemic. And he said that being heartfelt because I think we all took for granted maybe growing up, and the fact that the freedoms that we had. I know we all had different experiences, just growing up, different childhoods, maybe in different parts of the country, but just being able to socialize and taking it for granted, going to school and seeing your peers and things of that nature, whether you had good or bad relationships with them. Can you imagine being just locked down for over a year? So that's where he's at, and said, I'm just trying to do what I can to get us all out of this pandemic. Talk a little bit not only about those that 12 and up, the teens and tweens vaccine, but those who have not yet received or are reluctant to get their second dose of the vaccine, if it's Pfizer or Moderna.
So what we're looking at right now is that we are having, because we know that children, that age group, they socialize, and they've gone this last year, say in 4 months, without being able to be around their friends and relatives and grandparents. It's putting a lot of pressure on them to be able to say, hey, I need to do something so I can get back to my old way of living or what normal looks like to them. Right. So I think the children in that age group are going to probably be someone for us as older adults and elderly to look up to them and say, hey, if they have the courage and have the mindset to want to go and do this so that they feel safe and will keep their peers safe and can go back to school and continue doing things the way it used to be, then that's probably, we're going to have to rely on them to help pick up the pace in getting people to understand that this vaccine is very important. One of the things I want to touch on today is because so many people think that because they've got their first vaccine that they're going to be okay and that there's no reason to go back. That's the furthest thing from the truth. And most people that have had 2 doses think it's that have had the 1 dose think that's going to be effective. That's the furthest from the truth, because the first dose that you get, it introduces your immune system to ward off specific antigens. The second dose is the one that is going to have your body fight off all the antibodies that come in and are going to try to attack your body. So that second dose is the most important dose that you're going to get. So
it's
what
the
I'm
booster
trying
shot,
to,
correct?
The booster, correct. So I'm really trying to get that information out today to please go back and get your second shot, because that's the one that's going to kind of top everything off and have you be able to fight this pandemic off.
Talking with Benita Presley of the Vancouver NAACP branch and Wellness and Recovery on the Go. This vaccine update is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. And I guess we could kind of go down that road a little bit more, Benita, and talking about it, because, the viruses and a coronavirus, it mutates for a living. That's just what they do. And they have to, if they don't have anywhere to go, they'll die off. And that's where you talk about trying to achieve the herd immunity. And for those who, you can fake the funk all you want and act like you're vaccinated, and not have your card or whatever the case may be. Problem is you're putting yourself at risk because this virus is looking for a host. And you are the perfect, that's how you have these breakthrough variants and things of that nature. It can't mutate, or should we say it can't mutate and have a variant unless it does have a host. So you're not doing yourself or this pandemic any good if you're not protecting yourself, whether being masked up or making sure that you are vaxxed up. Just talk about the importance of it and talk about how the impact of those that have already been fully vaccinated and fully inoculated, how it's brought these numbers down to help the pandemic, whether it be from hospitalizations or deaths, but it still ranges high in the African American and Mexican communities compared to other communities because of the hesitancy that still remains in our community.
That is correct, and I think the most important thing I can say today is that one person cannot rely on your friend or your family member or your husband or your wife. Just because they went and got the vaccination isn't going to protect you. It's actually, you're putting the rest of your family at risk, because that person that's been vaccinated, they're going to be okay. But when you go out and intermingle with other people that are not vaccinated, you're bringing whatever type of whatever variant that they've caught, you're bringing those germs back home with you if you happen to catch it and have the symptoms and bring that home. You're bringing that to your household, and the person that has a shot, their body's going to be working overtime protecting them, and you're unprotected. So it's not for us to depend on people that have their shots to protect us and the rest of the community. That's not the philosophy to have behind that. Each person needs to protect their own self the best way they can. Eventually, wearing the mask, distancing, and hand washing is not going to be enough. So we have to, again, as I've been saying each week, make individual choices and decisions. And we're relying a lot with the word getting out in churches. I'm sure that when school starts back in September, that's when we're going to start seeing more vaccination push being done in the schools, because right now we have nothing's really being worked on. It's being worked on, but there's no rules say that we're going to have something done for kids that are 12 and under by a certain date. So we're saying fall and early winter is when they can start promoting vaccinations for 12 years old down to 6 years old. But right now, the kids are just going to be running around all summer unprotected. So the adults are going to have to be the ones to step it up and protect the children.
I would agree, and trying to reach herd immunity, which is making sure that at least 70% of the population is vaccinated. That's still a task that needs to take place, and the president is hoping that can be achieved by the 4th of July. You've got states here, like here in Washington, where Governor Inslee is looking to maybe open up earlier than June 30th based on the numbers and of those vaccinations going up, and it seems that they're on pace to maybe open up earlier. Same thing going on in the state of California as well. So that's promising news, but again, you don't want to be left out of this, especially when you could get the vaccination free 99, if you know what I mean. It does not cost.
Right.
It does not cost anything to get the vaccine. So do what you can to help out. And when I talk about these upcoming holidays, and for all of us to remember what happened a year ago. You saw the spikes in the numbers, even though travel was restricted a great deal, not like it is now, but a great deal. Just remember a year ago, even with travel restricted, the numbers went up, and after Memorial Day weekend, and then after again the 4th of July weekend. What is the concern that you have out there, and maybe the warning that you will put out to those in regards to these upcoming holidays during these summer months?
So if we know that we want to travel and use our summertime and our vacation times to enjoy life, then I think that the vaccination is going to have to be part of that plan, because traveling on the airplane, the states that have the high rate of the pandemic, and we'll say Florida, we'll say California, Texas is very much at the top of the list for people traveling there and then coming back to wherever they reside at and passing it around. So you really have to look at what your lifestyle and your behavior calls for, and what are you going to do to protect yourself and your family and your loved ones. And it's something that you can't be selfish about. I'm thinking that people are going to have to really start looking at it's life or death. Unfortunately, I had 3 people that I personally know and that I could say were true friends to me, and I had much love for them, that were buried last week due to COVID-19, and they were anywhere between 56 and 71 years old. So I'm just one person, and one black person, and those 3 people were black, and that's letting me know that it's high in my community, and that's just in Portland, Vancouver area. So if we think about the whole United States, we have a lot of work to do, and we have to get people on board to start thinking about what they're going to do to make themselves safe and their families safe.
Oh, I'm sorry for your loss, and that definitely could be it's a somber reminder of the fact that we are still in a pandemic, and I know a lot of people, whether it be the fatigue or whatever that we've gone through for over a year now, it's not a time to drop your gloves. As they say, protect yourself at all times, right? And this is what we can do. Benita Presley of the Vancouver branch of the NAACP and Wellness and Recovery on the Go with us. This vaccine update is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As you leave us here, Benita, maybe give us any last statistics or numbers and a last message to the listeners that you want them to know going into this Memorial Day weekend.
So one stat I have is out of 573,000 Americans that have been vaccinated with the COVID-19. There were 450 of those deaths that were children under the age of 18. So that's not good. Just to let you know that children aren't exempt from this, and it's just, again, that us as being adults, we're going to have to step up and look at our children, my children are my world and my grandchildren, and whatever I need to do to try to make things safer for them while they're here on the planet, and me being here to be guidance for them, I'm going to be found trying to do that. So with that, again, I don't like to focus on the somber things and things that people don't really like to have conversations about, but it's about keeping it real, and it's a duty of mine to let people know that this is nothing to play with. And I think I started out saying a gift of protection. So I think we'll just keep using that every week as a subtle reminder that the vaccination is a form of a gift of protection. And that's what we're going to have to look at in terms of getting ourselves prepared for this pandemic and all the variants that are going to keep coming our way.
I completely concur. Benita Presley of the Vancouver branch of the NAACP and Wellness and Recovery on the Go. We again thank you for your time. Stay safe, be blessed, happy birthday, and have a great Memorial Day weekend.
Thank you, and you all do the same. Talk to you next week.
Absolutely. This vaccine update has been supported by the Washington State Department of Health, and it's finally time. COVID-19 vaccines are now available to everyone 16 and older. To find and schedule an appointment, go to vaccinelocator.doh.wa.gov. A message from the Washington State Department of Health.